Once again, pause the video and match with all the code I have written here and match with your. If anything went wrong, you might stuck in that part. If you want to be a great developer, then you should try to find the solution by yourself. You can use ChatGPT or Stack Overflow. Just go there, ask the question. The problem you are facing, there is someone already faced that problem. You can just search for the problem in Stack Overflow. You can search it properly. You can already get an answer. Afterward, you just need to implement in here. Okay, and here is the model. Just match this model with your model. Pause the video and match it. Afterward, we are going to create another model for user class user. Here we are going to inherit this base class. So let me inherit it. If we inherit a class, then all the property, for example those property, will be in here. So since we have inherited it, we need to write down it once again. Let me delete all those, and here it will be a username. A user will have username, and the type for this is string, and this field will be unique. Unique is true and index true. Okay, then let me reformat it. After reformatting, go to auth. Here in the register, we are going to register a user to the database. At first, we are going to check if there is a user with the same username we are trying to register with that username. Then it will create an error that user is already registered with the username. Otherwise, if the username didn't used it previously, then we are going to create a new user and return the username. Okay, so let's try it. First of all, we are going to create a statement for getting the record from the database. Select this. Select we are going to import from SQL model. From SQL model, import select. Okay, here in the select we are going to we need to import another model, that is source dot models import user. Select user, where user dot, we need to use where clause, where user dot username is equal. Here we need, whenever someone make a request to this register, we need to accept data for the user what we are going to save into the database. Okay, so therefore we need to create a schema. Inside source we are going to create another file, that is schema. Here inside schema we are going to import base model, this pydentic base model. We are going to create a class user create, and inside this user create we are going to inherit base model, and this user create will have only one parameter, that is username. This is kind of like a format in which format we are going to get data from the user when he makes request to our endpoint. In this format, this is string. The user need to put is this username in his body of the request. User data, this is we are going to import from source dot schema import user create. Here in this user create format we are going to get the data for the user data dot username, and we need to execute this. Therefore let's create session user is equal. Here we need to define session in here. Session, remember we have created session dev. This thing we are going to import here from source dot config dot database import session dev. Okay, let me copy this and paste it here. And in session data, by this session we are able to do operation with our database. So let me just write session.exec. Here we need to pass the statement. After passing the statement, then we need to find the first element, because this statement is going to return us an array, but we need only the first element from that array. If we get the session user, then it will return an error, raise an error, raise HTTP exception. This HTTP exception we are going to import from FastAPI. HTTP exception, and here exception status code is going to be here. Once again we are going to import status. This status code is going to be status dot http 400 the bad request. Here we need to pass detail of the error. The detail of the error is the user is already registered with this user name. Okay, then if we don't get any error, that means we don't have any session user, we are going to create a new user. We are going to use try catch block here, except exception as e. Here I'm going to print e, the error. Here I'm going to create a new user. User is equal user name is equal user data dot username. After creating it, we are going to do those things. Session dot add. Every time we add or update data, we need to write this 3 line user, then session dot commit and session dot refresh. We are going to refresh the table for the user, and we need to return this here. Okay, user.username will dynamically show the user which is registered recently. Okay, now let's try running this. Python 3 m dash source dot main. Okay, it is getting an error. What is the error? unable to find any good score scheme optional. Okay, I guess the error is with this model, this optional. This must be integer type. Okay, now once again run it. Yeah, it is running successfully. One more thing, we need to use this function in here. I'll show you the what is the use cases of that function. Let me import this function instead of URL. Okay, here we are going to, after starting the app, we are going to call this function. Now just close it, once again run the application. It is showing an error. I need to start my XAMPP server. I haven't started it. So if you are using XAMPP, then the process is same. Otherwise, if you are using Windows, then you will have a user interface. Just start MySQL, sudo opt lamp start. Okay, it will ask for password. I think I entered an invalid password. Okay, it is running now. Let me just once again run it. Yeah, it is running. Let me show you the status. MySQL is running, Apache is running, everything is running, no problem with it. Let me run the application one more time. Actually, this database I'm going to use for another application. Therefore, I'm going to create a new database, en underscore football underscore stats. Okay, let's generate this en football stats. Let me copy this and paste it here. I need to paste that database here inside this environment variable. Instead of football stats, let's change the name of our database. By using this function, database will be created automatically. One more thing, in the user we must need to put nullable false. The username can never be null. Therefore, we are going to set nullable false. Okay. And in the base model, in the user, after base model, we must specify table is equal true, because this user is going to be a table in the database. After all, reload the server, then you see here it is saying creating table. By default, it is creating a table with name of user for us. It has ID column, created at, updated at. You might have a question how this created at, updated at comes from, where it comes from. It comes from this base model. Since we are inheriting this base model in our user, it is creating the username. Okay, now let's see our database. Just go to the database. Now we have a table, and inside that table we have ID created at, updated at, and username. Now go to the localhost colon 8000 docs, reload it and register a user. I'm going to register a user with username of string. Let's try it out. Execute. User has been registered successfully. Okay, let's try with this same username string. Execute. Now this time we are getting an error bad request 4000. Okay, then it is saying a user is already registered with this username. We must change this username in order to make username unique in our table. Okay, it is this time it is saying user has been registered successfully, and this is the username.